Okay. I can't see people. Welcome to this live session, guys. And uh, I am uh, waiting for your questions, which will be available online to us. Ravichandran, if we are getting any question from YouTube Live, please put that in the chat box. Okay. Okay. So I have few questions from you guys that you have posted online, and some of those questions are about exams and all. I don't know how to answer those questions to you, but there was a question about uh, assimilation, about uh, nasal assimilation that I have discussed in terms of impossible and uh, im, what were those things? Impossible and inconfident and etc. There is a question. There are two words given in this in the question, which is about which is illogical and um, right, basically illogical uh, and illiterate. So these are also examples of assimilation. What happened in the other examples like impossible and etc. Uh, based on the place of articulation of the initial sound in the word, the place of articulation of the nasals changed. But in this case of illogical and illiterate, the place of articulation has become exactly same as the first sound in the word, which is la. So the word was literate or logical. So negative prefix became exactly like the same sound, and therefore you have illogical and illiterate. The answer to this question is just one moment. The answer to this question is exactly the same. So you don't need to worry about that. It's still the example of assimilation. What are the other questions, Sri Balaji? I'm still waiting.
Looks like no one is online, sir.
No. They are actually. It's not like yesterday's session. It's a YouTube broadcast. So there, Sri Balaji and Ravichandran are there to help us. Just to stay there for a minute.
No, Ravichandran just called me and told me that if at all there's any question that will appear on the chat box. So like yesterday.
Sri Balaji, Ravichandran. Okay, let's wait for some time, and then after that we'll
Sure.
terminate. There were he Ravichandran was saying that there were 7-8 people, and they
Oh,
but they are on YouTube broadcast chat, not in this chat.
oh, okay.
So, Ravichandran, is there a way we can see the YouTube broadcast chat here? Is there a way I can see the YouTube broadcast screen? Or where have you shared? Can you send me that YouTube link in email? Send me email. I'm turning my computer on also simultaneously. Kartika, can you turn your copy it to Kartika also, Ravichandran?
Shall I read out some more questions that was given to us in the sheet?
Yeah. Definitely, you can read. Was there one I
So there's
remembered about assimilation?
so there's one person who has asked,
Ah,
how do you use linguistics in teaching?
oh, okay. Yeah, very nice. It's a good question of applied linguistics. You see, applied linguistics as a whole is all about application of uh, uh, theoretical understanding about language, that is, the study of language, put to use, put to solve practical issues. One of the most prominent practical issue at hand, and it has been in discussion since long, language teaching. So, three aspects of the study of language, namely study of acquisition, that is how we learn, study of a structure, that is formal properties of language, and study of function, which is also known as either variation or change or relationship with relationship of language with external factors, that is external to human mind. These are the three main domains in which we study language. All the three have direct connection, direct link with teaching of language. And each one of them can be applied directly in the classroom for understanding various aspects of target language uh, as well as the language, the medium language. So uh, there are direct implications of language study to language teaching. I can give you one example. Uh, Understanding sound patterns and the difference between the language as a medium and the target language and the language that you speak, or maybe the class speaks. Uh, Understanding the structure of these things and overall understanding of how we acquire language as a child and how we learn language at a later stage, which is known as second language learning or second language acquisition. These things will have direct impact on how you study that. So that's another question. Do we have another particular?
Yeah. There's one question on please explain diphthongs.
Please explain diphthongs.
Yeah.
Diphthong is a vowel. There are two types of vowels, monophthongs and diphthongs. One of them is uh, so basically diphthongs are, they look like combination of two vowels, but actually they are not combination of two vowels. It's like one vowel beginning from one point and finishing at the other is called a diphthong. For example, o, 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 it starts with a and ends with o and ends with u. This is an example of a next.
Um, Next question, sir. As you told that impossible and inconsistent are examples of assimilation. So I could infer that this happens because in plus possible is equal to impossible and in plus patient is equal to impatient and in plus consistent is equal to inconsistent.
Right.
Though same, there is variation occurred in pronunciation, that is assimilation has happened, but there are they are examples like illogical, illiterate, where assimilation has occurred, I guess. Um, oh, this person has not. But in a different way. The nasal has disappeared altogether in this case. Please explain.
I have answered that question. That's about nasal assimilation and assimilation of two sounds. It's assimilation works in illogical and illiterate also. So that's fine. That is taken care of. Do you have your computer with you, Kartika?
Yes.
So Ravichandran has sent the link, YouTube link.
Okay.
Just click that, you will get it. You will get, and there are a lot of people, putting questions there.
Okay.
Um, you can, if it is difficult, leave it. Because I am also
No, no,
working.
no. I've got it.
Okay.
Um,
There is a question by Priyanka Nayak, something about Odia, that I think there is no difference in negative markers where sentence gives the sense of tense and it's an imperative sentence. In both the case, there are just an affix, I can say, added to the verb. So the verb is followed a negative marker in all cases. Please give opinions. Uh, Priyanka Nayak, I think you are talking about negative um, uh, negative markers in Odia, and it is possible that a negative marker and a tense marker both are merged in the verb. It happens in many languages, particularly in Dravidian languages like Tamil, Malayalam. Maybe it happens in Telugu as well. Um, so Odia being uh, in convergence with Telugu, it's possible that it works in that way for Odia. Uh, so uh, It's not a matter of opinion, Priyanka Nayak. It's actually uh, it is one of the features of natural language that negation as an element is just as uh, tense or aspects. It's a functional element, and verbs in different languages will host it. And on the other hand, in some languages like Hindi, uh, they will appear as a word. There are a lot of questions from Priyanka. I just want to say that earlier. Okay, that's the same question. Madhushri Mukherjee, please discuss the concept of formants. Madhushri Mukherjee, if you can hear me, I don't understand what you mean by formants. Uh, uh, I don't know what you mean by formats. If you can explain that to me, Madhushri, I will explain that to you. Uh, Priyanka, I have answered the question about assimilation just now. So please look at that, please. And I'm waiting for more questions from you guys. So
Sir, from the sheet,
yeah,
can I
go
read
ahead.
out one question?
Sure, sure,
What
sure.
What is the difference between applied linguistics and computational linguistics?
Okay, I'll do that. Applied computational linguistics is uh, one part of applied linguistics, and when our understanding of language is applied to understand how machines can be made more intelligent, is the goal of computational linguistics. And therefore, computational linguistics becomes part of applied linguistics. So it's not about the differences or similarities between applied linguistics and computational linguistics. It's about how computational linguistics is part of applied linguistics. That will help you understand.
There's another question
Uh-huh.
regarding the CCCC pattern. Uh,
Okay.
there are words in English that have a Y and I sound, such as cyst and rhythm. How do we treat it?
What is a cyst? What is the word in English?
Cyst, CYST, and
Okay.
rhythm.
Okay, RHYTHM, something like that. That's what
Yes,
he's
yeah,
asking from.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. See, the when we talk about CV pattern, what we are basically saying is all words will have alternations of a consonant and a vowel. What we are also saying that it is possible to have couple of consonants together and couple of vowels together. It's possible to have a cluster in the beginning of a word, in the middle of a word, or at the end, but at the end of a word. So several permutations of these alternations between vowels and consonants is possible. That's the idea of this CV pattern. What we want you to know is this consonant and vowel alternation is about is more relevant to see when we speak. We are looking at sound patterns. We are looking at how we speak. We are looking at this alternation in sounds, not in the spelling of English words. Spelling has a different convention, and spoken language involves sounds. Okay, next.
Let me see if in like, sir, could you please tell me about where exactly you have answered the question about assimilation that I have asked in Google Groups?
Or is that Priyanka Nayak
Yeah,
again?
Priyanka Naik.
Okay, I answered that question just now, but see, I can repeat that answer again. You don't have to look anywhere. You can only look at it once this gets fully uploaded. Uh, see, the main answer is impossible is definitely assimilation between ma and between na and pa. So the place of articulation of pa, which is the first sound of possible, has its impact on the negative prefix, and therefore it becomes impossible. So the negative sound also becomes a bilabial in that. But in the cases of illegal, illegitimate, illiterate, and many more, that's also a case of assimilation. It's just that la is a liquid sound, and in association with a liquid sound, the negative prefix becomes exactly la, and therefore you see this gemination of two la in the beginning of that word. However, that is a case of assimilation as well. That is the answer. Next, next.
There is one question, sir. Why do we have consonant clusters in English, especially CCCB beginning with S as in spray, not with other consonants?
It's just a unique thing. It's not just about English. It's true for all languages. And when you have heavy clusters in a language, like CCC, that is three consonants in the beginning of a word, there are certain additional constraints, which is the first sound must be sa, the second sound must be one of the stops like pa, ta, or ka, and third one, which must be one of the liquids like ra, one of the two, ra, ra. It's a constraint on heavy clusters in natural language. It's not just for English, and that's all.
Um, this Madhushri asking, sir, in acoustic phonetics, the tallest wave is called the formant. It is an emphasized utterance. The research scholar thought it.
The research scholar taught it. Who is the research scholar?
I'm guessing probably in their place, wherever.
Oh,
It,
okay, okay, okay. I see. Okay, Madhusri, you'll have to look at acoustic phonetics. I don't think I have discussed formants in this course, but to give you more information about that, I will have to look at uh, uh, what different waves in acoustic phonetics are called, and I can only answer to this question when I look at little bit more details of acoustics phonetics. As far as I am concerned, I have not discussed this in this course.
um, is the next question is it that a vowel only can be the nucleus of a word?
Yes, vowel can only be the nucleus of a word. Vowel can only be the nucleus of a syllable. So syllable is a smaller part of a word, and vowel can only be the nucleus, and therefore vowel is one of the most important sounds in a word or a syllable. And it's called a nucleus because without a vowel, we do not have either a syllable or a word.
This is a question from the discussion forum.
Okay.
How do Tamil speakers manage their language with few vowels and consonants?
Few vowels and consonants. Tamil doesn't have only few vowels and consonants. Tamil has as many vowels and as many consonants as any other language.
Probably, I guess he was
Yeah,
referring to
maybe
the written.
writing system. I am not familiar
Writing
with the
system.
writing system of Tamil, but Tamil as a spoken language would not have any less consonant or vowels than any other language, for sure.
Um, um,
Next,
how do Telugu people
how do Telugu people?
distinguish? How do Telugu people distinguish RP sounds in think there with Telugu mother tongue? Are there any tongue twisters to practice RP sounds to avoid mother tongue influence?
No, there is no way to avoid mother tongue influence in learning process of a language, and RP is the variety of English which is done by, which is spoken by uh, Cambridge and Oxford people. It's very small. They are very small in a number, and there is no need for Telugu speakers to distinguish anything from RP. Next.
Um, okay, so Madhushi has clarified that she has asked this question on the basis of the guest lecture that we have had for applied linguistics.
Okay.
The lady who came from Berkeley, I think, to deliver the lecture. So she says,
Oh, okay. I see. She's talking about Sarah. Okay. I see.
yeah,
Now I remember. So, Madhusri, like I said, give me more time. Let me go. Let us look at the uh, specific lecture on that on phonetics, which Sarah has talked about, and then I will answer you this question. Do send it to me in email or a forum. We will answer you this question for sure.
yeah. Then another question is, I'm confused between phonetics and phonology. Can you please explain briefly, sir?
Okay, phonet, very nice. There is no need to be confused about it. Phonetics is the study of physical properties of sounds and mechanism involved in production of sounds. Whereas phonology is the study of abstract properties of the sounds and combinatorial computation of sounds. That is, how one sound combined with other, what are the abstract features of sounds, and so on. So they look two different things, but they are similar to the extent that they are dealing with sounds.
Okay, this Lachu who has asked, Sir, Malayalam doesn't show variations based on gender or number, but with tense only. Could you tell me any other language showing the same feature?
There are many languages, you are right. Malayalam does not show agreement features in terms of number and gender or person, but yes, Malayalam has tense markers, aspects marker, and all other markers. Uh, Agreement is not a universal feature of language. There are many languages which do not show agreement. I don't remember names of those languages from top of my head, but there are a lot of Tibeto-Burman languages like Mizo, Mar, and so on, which will not have various different markers. And in a lot of cases in English, we do not have agreement markers, meaning overt agreement markers on verbs and so on. Yeah, more.
Um, Priyanka has asked, is it always that only vowels are nucleus of a syllable? Because there are syllabic consonants too, I think. Please do consider.
Right. The moment they become syllabic, those consonants are sonorous in nature. They are vocalic in nature, and therefore, only in very few cases some consonants become uh, nuclear. True, that is true, and therefore they are called syllabic consonants.
Okay. There is Revati who says, request a quick overview of articulation.
What does that mean? Articulation. Quick overview of articulation meaning pronunciation. Uh, I don't understand, Revati, what you mean by quick overview of articulation. If you mean a review of what we have discussed in sounds and uh, please look at the video, or you can make your question more specific and then we can answer that.
Um,
Next.
then there's Lavu Thakur who has asked, Sir, how to overcome the barriers of communication? Means if we want to speak in English, then how we can think in English instead of Hindi? Thank you, sir.
Uh, it's a matter of practice. You have to keep using the language for a long period of time to reach anywhere close to that, where your communication doesn't seem to have any barriers, particularly when you mean interference from your from other languages that you know, in particular your mother tongue or native language or the language that you learned first prior to English, it will take long time for that. And in some cases, it may not happen. But I don't think we need to worry about this part. If we don't think in English before we speak or after we speak, it's not a problem. We don't need to worry about thinking in English. You can think the way you think, and you can use English if you have learned it later only as a medium to read, write, and communicate. It should not be a problem for you. At least I can recommend not to take it as a problem and consider it as a barrier.
Mm. There's one person named Jesus who has asked how many languages you can speak.
You can speak as many languages as you can, as you want, provided as a child you have got input in all those languages. So, in the process of acquisition, if you receive input from, let's say, 10 languages simultaneously, you can possibly speak all those 10 languages simultaneously or one after the other. So it depends on the input that you receive in the process of acquisition, and mostly as a child, it may not. However, uh, if you are trying to learn a language after a certain point, that is, let's say, somewhere after 13 years of your age or 15 years of your age, then it depends on time that you invest in learning a language. So it's possible. Therefore, yeah. So I think I clarified that.
Um, there's
Next.
another person who has asked, hello, sir, how do we command a particular language? How can we improve fluency? Thanks.
To again, I would suggest to acquire fluency in a language, any language that we have learned uh, at a later stage, uh, we need to spend time with that language. And fluency definitely comes. It depends on the amount of language that you are using. It depends on different domains in which you are using the language, and then you will get to fluency. But you need to wait for that, and you need to practice. You need to use that language more often. Uh, consistent consistent and careful use of uh, underlying patterns and a study of underlying patterns of language, particularly sound patterns and stress patterns and unique structural features of the language will definitely give you fluency sooner than later. Next.
Um, so I need to know whether Vijender has asked, I need to know whether social categories like say caste affect phonetic identity. How?
I don't think so. Social categories do not seem to affect how we speak. I think that's what you mean by phonetic identity. Uh, it's a it's the feature of language and the sounds of language that give us specific way in which we speak. So if I'm a Hindi speaker, I I have uh, my vocal tract before it gets matured gets trained with the sounds of Hindi, and therefore I speak the way I speak. Um, I'm not familiar with any such research which has any cast impact on phonetic identity. That is the way you speak. Next.
Uh, Sir, I sound in Tamil and
Uh,
T sound in English, do they differ in place of articulation? La sound, no, I think it's la sound. La sound in Tamil and ta sound in English, do they differ in place of articulation? I need a clarification.
yes, they are close by in their place of articulation. This is true. But also, what you need to know is in terms of manner of articulations, they are very different. Uh, one is retroflex, the other is not retroflex at all. So, t sound in English is alveolar sound. The tip of the tongue is touching the alveolar ridge area, and it's not retroflex at all. Whereas the last sound in the word Tamil, it's definitely not la. It's a retroflex sound where the tip of the tongue curls back and hits the alveolar region in a different place. Therefore, it's not really alveolar retroflex, but it's just a retroflex sound. There appears to be some similarity, but they are very different from their manner of articulations.
Okay, this is a question from what we received in the Excel.
Okay.
Sir, what principles of applied linguistics should be applied to create a study material for English language learning as second language? This is for people who have some proficiency in reading and basic writing, but a lot of difficulty in speaking and articulation.
Hmm. Definitely. So basically, what the question is how applied linguistics and linguistics understanding helps us learn English better. If that is your contention, then I would say again that you need to look at differences and similarities in sound patterns of the language that you speak and target language that is English. Also, structural features, the uses, pragmatics, and so on. And more importantly, more than memorizing and remembering them, how often you use in different domains, how often you use those things, and how often you use English per se in different domains of your function uh, will will yield better results. And that is the way you can look at the impact of our understanding of language study through applied linguistics for language teaching. And next, Kartika.
So Vijender has commented, but in our social setup, every language community is physically distant in settlements, say in villages.
Physically distant in settlements. Well, languages are uh, physically distant, but not exactly, and it has nothing to do with villages, Vijayendra. So, languages do vary after every um, uh, uh, it's hard to quantify, but after every particular distance, languages do vary. And particularly, we find that variation in sound system, in phonological aspects of language. Morphology and syntax won't change. So, uh, uh, it is possible, hypothetically speaking, that different kinds of settlements living in the same village or same area may be speaking different languages. So variation within language or variation between languages is a very natural phenomenon. And it's only based on the sound system, but it is not located uh, external to the features of language. Okay.
Um, then there is a question that says, based on the video, request you to elaborate with examples the alphabets with reference to labial, also fricatives.
Alphabets with reference to labia.
Probably sounds, that's what the
Oh,
person
okay.
is
So
saying.
I think okay, labial sounds and fricative sounds. Okay.
Yeah.
So labials are the sounds which are produced with the help of uh, lips. Lips are articulators in our oral tract, and so sounds like pa, pa, ba, bha, ma, not are labial sounds. Not necessarily all these sounds are supposed to be functional or available in all languages. For example, some languages do not have aspirated sounds, some languages may not have some other kinds of sounds, but these are some of the labial sounds. Then also there are some labial sounds which are produced with the help of other articulators, like when we say labiodental, when we use lips and teeth to articulate a sound like fa in English. So this is called so that's these are labial sounds. Fricatives are the ones where the flow of air in the production of sound is not fully blocked. Those sounds are called fricative sounds.
Okay. There's another
Next.
question by
Mhm.
Lavu. Sir,
Mhm.
which dominates in English speaking, accent or grammar?
It's not about accent or grammar. I think you mean sound system or structure. Both are important for learning better English. Both are important domains to pay attention for better fluency, better accuracy, and so on.
Okay. There's Soundarya who has asked, I want to learn a new language. What is the first step to take and what are the steps to learn fast? What basics are needed to learn a language? Could you please explain?
I would simply ask you to read little bit more, Soundarya, on language learning and second language acquisition. There is one particular aspect which we uh, which we haven't talked about and we need to pay attention to is motivation. So your motivation to learn a second language is at times way more important than a specific aspect of a language where you need to focus. As I said, in the process of learning of new language, you will need to focus at several aspects, almost all aspects simultaneously, like sounds, structure, usage, pragmatics, and so on, to become a better speaker and a better communicator with accuracy and fluency in your target language. Next.
There's another question. SM. Sir, my question is, ta sound in Tamil and te sound in English, do they differ in place of articulation?
Yeah, definitely. If there are two different sounds and they sound differently, then they have to be from two different places of articulations.
Um, Vijender has asked, what are the challenges from applied linguistic point of view in developing effective speech recognition and machine translation tools, especially for languages like Hindi?
It's almost impossible to answer this question in short, Vijendra. This is uh, what I can say is the entire domain of developing speech recognition tools and machine translation tools are part of applied linguistics. So the study of the different areas like morphology and morphosyntax are the two different areas in which most people working in what's that recognition, speech recognition and machine translation work and develop their tools. How they will develop and what especially uh, what they will focus for Hindi. They will have to work with Hindi speakers in these domains to develop and come up with the idea about the kind of tool they would want to develop. I won't be able to speculate on that.
Okay, there's one question from the discussion forum.
Yes.
Can the explanation on morphemes and its types and also on compound words and the process of compounding and derivation be provided?
So read it again, please.
Uh, the person is asked to explain morphemes and its types and also
Uh,
compound words and the process of compounding and derivation.
okay. If it is not there already, we will try to add a video on that, explaining the process of derivation and derivational morphology in details. Okay. Next.
The person wanted the definition of morphology.
Definition of morphology: study of uh, word is study of different parts of a word and their functions, or combining them together is called morphology. So morphology basically is the study of words and its components, and also it includes, there is no watertight distinction between these things. So how we combine several words, several sounds to make a word, and what are those components called, what is possible, what is not possible, and their principle underlying that is basically morphology. Okay.
Then there's a question: which foreign language is most easy to learn?
The specific thing we learn when we understand the process of language acquisition in details, particularly the process of language acquisition, child, and different stages in acquisition. Uh, we understand when we look at how the entire apparatus of language acquisition device, it's with the detailed descriptions of principles and parameters uh, of universal grammars, and how they are active until critical period, and after what point we lose access to to universal grammar. When we understand these things in somewhat details, then we get to know that no language is easy or difficult in terms of learning. And I am very carefully speaking also about learning a language as a second language. You will get to know. Therefore, it is not fair to compare one language over the other in terms of being less difficult or more difficult. And this is not, there is no evidence to substantiate anything spoken hypothetically or from impression that language X is easy and language Y is more difficult. There is no research to substantiate that. Next.
There's one person who has asked how to define syllables for Hindi language.
What was that again? Can you read that? What was for Hindi?
How to define syllables for Hindi language.
Yet syllables for Hindi, right?
Yeah.
To define syllables for Hindi, I don't understand what it means. Do you understand what it means? What is syllabification in Hindi? What is that? Can you clarify? Can you clarify your question? Who is that? Who is asking that question?
No, it's some nickname.
Oh, that's okay. So
Yeah.
whoever is asking this question, can you clarify your question again? We'll try to answer that.
Yeah. So there's another question, sir. Does the knowledge of language refer only to mother tongue and knowledge about language uh, to a second language, or knowledge about?
Probably, yeah, yeah, I get it. I understand. So, yeah, knowledge of language refers to our first language, which is also known as mother tongue. Yes, that's what we mean when we say knowledge of language. Basically, it is saying um, mm, underlying patterns of language that we learn through subconscious process creates the bulk of knowledge that gets created is called knowledge of language, and it is the kind of knowledge which is basically we know things but we don't know that we know those things. So such knowledge is definitely about mother tongue. Yes.
Does learning a foreign language or possibly any new language require us to give up our local dialectic accent and copy foreign accent?
Short answer is no, not at all. You don't have to give up on anything. You don't have to give up your identity for learning a new language. However, if you want to sound better in that new language, then while speaking that language, learning to speak the way others speak that language is not a question about giving up your dialect or accent or anything that relates to your identity at all. Next.
Um, what so it was actually Yashvardhan who was asking that question on
Oh,
syllables and Hindi. He's
okay.
asking what is syllable, and then we will come to Hindi, sir.
What is syllable? Syllable is a unit in a word. So some words are one syllable words also, like cat or mat or rat. These are one syllable words. Word itself is a one syllable word. Then there are words possible which has got multiple syllables. So, for example, uh, uh, example itself has multiple syllables. Uh, mm, can you give me an example of two syllable word? Mm, okay,
Lotion,
so basically, sorry,
lotion, motion.
lotion, motion. These are two syllable words. So there are words with one which has only one syllable. There are words which has two syllables. There are words which has three, four, five syllables. But words with lot of syllables are not possible. For example, words with six, seven, eight syllables are very few in numbers. That is because they are difficult to speak. So, however, what is important to know about syllable is every syllable must have a vowel sound as well. That's syllable. So if you have any other question about Hindi, you can ask.
Uh, there's another person asking, sir, can the same sound in different languages be produced at different place of articulation?